Something very hungry is about to hatch. Welcome to I Be Suffer.
Spiderberg.
Yeah,
Spiderberg's back.
we're very upset that's not the name. They did name this fucking laboratory Spiderberg. This is episode 252 of I Be Suffer. My name is Slick.
I'm mother-in-law.
No, Those are the only good names in this.
Katie is
They
flight
really
controller.
are.
Is what?
Flight controller.
Flight controller. All right. Fine.
Katie is
You could be
Hamden College
technician.
student.
Oh no, it's me, bag lady.
Yeah. This week we are talking about 2000's Spiders.
What a fucking banger.
Listen.
It was a movie.
Oh no, I have to hand it to you, Kit. You really outdid yourself this time.
This one is so good. Come on.
No. I'm not being facetious. I legitimately actually liked it.
This is one of those movies that falls in the category of being like terrible but fun for me.
If the only downside to me, honestly, is because they have like a practical effects spider in this, and then sometimes CG. And if they just cut the CG out, because obviously it's from 2000, so it looks really bad. If they just use like the practical spider for everything, I maybe 5 stars. I actually really like this, and I wasn't when I pulled it up on Tubi, the screenshot that they showed you, I was like, oh my god, oh no, this is gonna be bad. It's just like a totally normal movie. And I think maybe part of the reason I was like so into it is because, like I said, I'm going through my alien phase, and this movie starts with like alien stuff, and I was like, "What in a spiders movie?" I don't know. I was into it. You did not let me down this time.
I think my only gripe with this movie is like the 3 people you follow are like the worst actors.
I didn't think they were that bad, to be honest.
Like it's not that necessarily that like they as actors are bad. I think the characters they wrote for them as these like her as like the over the top conspiracy theorist, and like her like I don't know fucking hacker partner, and like I don't know they were just like so late 90s early 2000s like stereotype versions of characters that I was like, okay, I hate all 3 of these people. But other than that, like the practical effects, like the practical spiders are incredible.
Oh my
and
God.
the
So good.
CGI is like that kind of CGI that like probably looked incredible in 2000, but in retrospect looks like shit, but I kind of appreciate that aspect of it. Like when the explosion on like the spaceship when they blow it up is so shitty, it rules, because they do like an actual explosion, but just kind of like overlay it onto
like superimpose it.
It looks so stupid that I was like, this rocks.
It's the best way to do explosions.
And I was totally expecting this to be 100% CG. So the first time that we see a spider and it was like practical, I was like, oh my god, because the scene filled me with such dread. I was like, I wasn't expecting it. So
yeah, it rocks. Like the first time like the spider, I guess spoilers if you're gonna watch this and you haven't, when the spider legs sprawl out of that fucking dude's mouth, I was like, holy shit.
Absolutely not. Oh my god.
That whole scene, all of the effects in it are mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
Like, especially for a zero budget fucking like straight to DVD movie, like
Yeah.
That's
Well,
fucking nuts.
like Boaz Davidson is like the producer, and he's produced some shit that like they put money behind. Like he's the producer of the Nick Cage Wicker Man, like the Conan the Barbarian remake from like a decade ago, the Scott Adkins Ninja movies.
Oh, okay.
So like he's got like he blatantly puts money. Like he did Mosquito Man and like Hammerhead Shark Frenzy and shit. Like he's got
Yeah.
he puts money behind the stuff he produces.
He
But it
knows
is-
what I'm into.
Yeah, this is honestly minus maybe these shitty Day of the Dead remakes. I feel like his entire producing credit is just every movie kid has ever seen.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the director of Spiders directed some of my other favorite murderous creature films.
Yeah, Mosquito.
Like, yeah, Mosquito, Crocodile 2, Death Swamp, Planet Raptor.
Planet Raptor looks extremely shitty, and I'm in.
He also
it's
did
bad.
special
It rocks.
effects for Hard Target. How can you get better than that?
Right?
Huh.
I cannot wait to watch Escape from Death Block 13.
Yeah, so this was I mean, I was on board anyway. I feel like spider movies, I'm always on board.
Pretty much.
It tried to play Spiders 2 after this that I was going to watch, but
That's exactly what I did.
it like started playing, and I think I got like 5 or 10 minutes into it, and I was like, I think I'm gonna try to go to bed. Instead.
Yeah.
It's definitely not as good, but it's got Richard Mole as the bad guy running a ship full of Russians. And it's like got a very weird vibe to it. And also I think it might have just been like Russian money laundering front.
Oh.
Because
I'm in.
like you look at the credits and it's like all Russian names.
Yeah, I was gonna say
and, like,
all of the actors except for like 2 of them on Letterboxd have like very Russian names.
Yeah, so it's like I kept trying to like look into it because it's like this seems a little odd, and I could never find anything, but I've got a suspicion.
I do appreciate that Velimir Velev is credited as mime/spider in 2. Incredible credit to have under your name.
Mime Spider.
Yeah, he played a mime and a spider.
Minder.
Every fucking like review.
Spime.
This, I mean, I guess this is sitting at an average 2.3, which
Way too low.
I agree.
I agree with that.
People got bad taste.
Yeah,
They really do.
actually. Listen, I'm Kit, I will never be a bigger supporter of you than I am in this moment.
I'm glad I finally picked one everyone liked. Going into it, I was like, this is the one. This is the one. Like, no one's gonna be mad at me for this one. It's good. It's gonna be fun.
I liked it.
It like I think like my biggest qualm with it is specifically the like hacker dude. Like his acting is just so bad.
It doesn't bother me until it gets to the scene where he realizes he's going to die from the spider bite, and then he like grabs the gun or whatever and just starts running around like, "Come fight me!"
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, my guy, like, I'll just go die in silence. Like,
Seriously.
Like I want my hackers to look like they're wearing Jinkos and fucking getting ready to go to a rave. And this guy did not.
Yeah, that's fair.
Especially in like 2000. Come on.
right?
It's fair.
But yeah, I especially like we'll get into it, but when you get to like they escape the fucking compound or whatever, and I was like, oh right, this movie just like blew by, and I was like, wait, there's still like 25 minutes left, and I was like, what the fuck is about to happen now?
Okay.
This is the one movie I think where the false ending actually works really well in it.
Yeah. The guy who plays the hacker, Jake, he is only credited in one other movie, and it is Perfect Cinema Replicant.
Oh yeah.
Who was he in this?
Yeah, Finally, I got a
He was
hunch.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, it's the stunt double.
I actually forgot to remember what his name was, so it does me no good to be looking through this. Okay. Any other praises to sing? We have 2 things before we start.
The main bad guy, who turns into a giant spider, which fucking rips,
Yeah.
and is an insane actor, is apparently also a licensed marriage family therapist and has his master's degree in psychology and a master's degree in education.
Wow, look at him.
That dude is in a shit ton of movies too.
Yeah.
Huh. I'm gonna start watching him because
Point.
I love him in this. He's
he's
got a weird energy to him.
He's
Yeah.
also one of those actors where I was like, this guy kind of sucks, but like works perfectly for this role. Like his acting, at least in this, is like not good, but like for like
It's like
just straight deadpan, like a secret government agency agent.
Yeah, it's like that scenery chewing, like...
He's in the Rock Hercules movie.
Oh my god.
I don't know who he's playing in it, because I do not see his face. There's entirely too many people credit. Oh, yeah, he plays Corsair. I don't know who that is. I've not seen that movie. Oh, he's in 48 Hours, too.
He's in that Dr. Mordred movie.
Is he? Hell yeah, that movie rocks.
He's Officer 1.
Perfect.
Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing else other than like diving into it, unless anybody else does.
Firstly, we have a new patron.
Oh yeah, we do. Where the fuck are my emails? Because yeah, we have a new patron. Ariana, say Ariane. I don't know how to pronounce her name. I'm sorry. I am bad at reading, and I've slept for 3 hours.
But, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
I hope you like spiders.
Yeah, go watch Spiders if you haven't. Tell us your thoughts.
Yeah, I think 100% signed up to get that early listen on Twilight, so I support you.
Actually, almost positive that's the case, because they signed up like maybe 2 hours after I posted the like next week's movie thing or whatever.
Yeah, perfect. I love that. We stand.
I'm so mad they announced the Twilight reboot the day after we
Oh my
recorded.
god, it was literally like 2 days later.
Wild. We definitely manifested that, which is insane to me.
Well,
we'll see.
Manifest better things then.
But I'm saying like there's been a lot of things that we've talked about that have ended up happening, and we're like, okay, whatever. But like this, come on. We like very much brought up the fact that it's been like 15 years since there's been any new Twilight stuff, and then the next day they're like Twilight TV series, which honestly we don't need. You know, I'm here for it. It's fine.
I gotta say, I'm a fan that Joe Biden is not giving me $3,000 right now, and everyone else for just another stimulus thing.
Yeah. Big fan of him not giving me the money he already owed me on top of that also.
Yeah.
Well,
we're coming for you, Biden. Give us our money.
What the hell, man?
Sending the spiders after you.
Do it. Mother-in-law's coming for you, bitch. My other thing is that I have like sort of a soda talk. It's not actually soda, but it is a drink I'm gonna try. It is you know,
is it liquid ham?
No.
Is it ham soda?
It's not. It doesn't have anything to do with ham.
Oh, then what we do?
Bacon?
No, that has to do with ham. It comes from the same animal. No, I have a it's one of those like iced, like pre-bottled Frappuccino drinks, but it is Twix flavored.
Oh, weird.
I am, as you all know and remember, I am obsessed with Twix. I think Twix might be like my favorite candy overall. I'm not really like super big into flavored coffee though. I'm very much just normal coffee, but I thought, why the fuck not, right? It's You know what? It smells like M&Ms.
Weird.
Hmm. Um, this isn't bad, actually. Um, I don't know that I'd say it tastes like Twix. It does taste sort of caramelly and chocolatey, though.
I would say I just assume it's like just chocolate flavored, you know?
Yeah. Well, and that's why I was curious because they had Twix and they had Snickers, and I'm like, what are they putting in this that would make it distinguishable? Like, does the other one also have peanut taste? Because like chocolate and caramel is like very are probably the two most like common flavors for coffee. So in my mind, I'm like, how do you distinguish that this is Twix, specifically Twix flavor? And the answer is that it's not, but it's not too bad. I expected it to be super sweet. I'm like very sensitive to sugar in drinks, and it's like not super sweet at all. I can't say that I actively enjoy it though, but if you like Twix, go for it.
What is it called?
It is Twix iced coffee. It's like the well, actually, now that I'm looking at it, I don't see the Starbucks logo, but it was in the same kind of
Yeah, like one of those.
the
I see it now.
yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, actually, I assumed it was like a Frappuccino, but it doesn't say anywhere on it that it's Starbucks or Frappuccino. So I don't know.
Victor Allen.
Yeah, I don't know who Victor Allen is,
Me
but
neither. Oh, this has milk in it. Never mind.
yeah, definitely.
Kayla's favorite candy is Twix, and I was like, oh, that's vegan. I wonder if Kayla would be interested in this, but it's got milk in it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All
talk
right,
about spiders.
let's do it.
I assume
All right.
spiders love Twix as well.
I think like who doesn't, honestly? Yum. Now I want real Twix. Okay. So Spiders starts just with the title, Spiders. And if you can believe it, a spider. We're dealing with the real spider. We quickly evolve not from a real spider, but the real spiders in these are tarantulas.
Horrific.
Yeah. No, thank you. Happy to say I moved out of Oakland without having seen a spider on the street. So thank you. So we start with the spider. There's a scientist who is injecting a tarantula with something, and there's some kind of control room going on. We're at NASA, and there's a rocket launching that is codename Solaris. Immediately, I was so confused, and I paused it to see if I was watching the right movie because I was like, "Why is happening?"
I kind of appreciate the like, because I was like, "Oh shit, are we gonna get alien spiders in this?" And then it kind of almost feels like they're going towards like the first 20 minutes feels like it's like an alien movie instead.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I was like, I think I got until maybe like 30 minutes in, I was like, I don't know. If I'm watching the wrong spiders, I'm not watching a different one. I'll just be the person this week that watched the wrong movie.
I like double checked because I was like very like, this is not a twist I was expecting. And I don't know. And somehow it just knew that I'm really into aliens right now. So yeah, we're at NASA, the Solaris, right? Now it cuts over to a girl who is reading space and alien stuff and looking pensive, and her name is Marcy, and she's our main character. Man, she's just so into space that she's late for something.
She's awful. Like at her job, she gets her friends killed and like doesn't seem terribly upset about it. Like,
yeah, she's not great.
I think my biggest problem with this like actress in this role is like her face acting when she's supposed to like act like she's being surprised by something. I was like, this is brutal.
Her face acting.
Like she does a lot of like what I can only describe as like Silent Bob face acting, where he is a nonverbal character, so like it makes sense that he's doing these over
Mm-hmm.
exaggerated like facial expressions, but she can speak, so like I don't know.
I definitely feel I understand what you're saying, and for me, I felt like she did at least get better as the movie went on, or maybe I just got used to her. I don't know.
I think it's like in the beginning when she's interviewing that couple that are like quote unquote aliens, and she's doing this like what
that
kind
scene,
of face, and I was like, come on.
That scene was really weird too because she kept going, cool.
Oh my god, she's like, yeah, cool.
You got those charts for me? Cool. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that cool was already a thing in 2000, but she seems like she's trying very hard to make it a thing.
I'm pretty sure she's the first person that's ever said the word cool.
Probably.
It was invented in this movie.
Yeah.
Yes. Or another origin story movie to add to our shelf.
Going to Mandela effect ourselves into believing this is the first time cool was ever used.
Yeah.
Ignoring Cool Hand Luke as a film entirely.
No, that was Cold Hand Luke.
Yeah. Chilled Hand Luke.
Okay. So she's late. She runs across campus to get to a newspaper office where she works, and she meets Joe and Loretta, who are waiting to talk to her because they're aliens, and they speak alien languages and stuff. And so Marcy is basically like, okay, Marcy like way believes in aliens also, right? And she's like kind of like a conspiracy theorist where she's like, oh, something's going on here, whatever, like to a fault. But her interviewing these two people who are saying they're aliens is like very much a strange, like I don't know. This whole interview was very weird.
I low-key wish this entire movie just followed them. I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know their story so bad.
Yeah, and so she's basically just like, okay, so when did you get here? Like, blah blah blah. She shows them. They're like, we've been here for 5 months and 2 days and 12 hours or some shit. And so she's like, okay, I've been monitoring the spot in the desert, and I think that's maybe where you landed. And she like shows it to them, and they're like, okay. And then the other guy says, yeah, it's Area 21. And they have a photo of this facility. So they show the photo, and Joe kind of starts speaking in tongues. Like he's an alien, but like, I don't know. He's just like, like he's freaking out. And they're like, oh, geez, that's weird. So then after the interview, Joe and Loretta drink non-dairy creamer. And
normal.
Very. And Marcy brings her boss out to like meet them or whatever. And the boss is like, Marcy, he's got a New Jersey accent.
This is maybe my favorite exchange in the film. It's not an alien, he's got a Jersey accent. And she's like, they implant chips in them.
And erase their memories. Could you imagine, listen, I'm like an expert of like aliens being on Earth and then like living as normal people at this point. And could you imagine landing on Earth, being a human, and then they implant you to have a New Jersey accent? Sounds bad.
Could be worse. Could get a Boston accent.
Oh my god, yeah, I was gonna say.
That'd be even worse, yeah.
From fucking outer space.
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, he's like, they're not aliens. He kicks them out, and he's basically just like, you are a fucking idiot, and if you don't do the assignments I'm telling you to do, I'm going to report you to the dean. So he's like, you need to report on this shuttle, the Solaris. And she's like, oh, that's so boring. Whatever. So
she's a conspiracy person. Shouldn't she be like way into writing about like space travel and shit?
They're doing like experiments on the ship too.
Like,
you know,
they're literally doing a conspiracy, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no theory.
They're doing
it's right there.
Yes. So the Solaris, however you want to say it, is the shuttle, and it's doing space stuff. And there is like mission control specifically Houston, of Houston, we have a problem, are talking to them, and there's some kind of like complications going on of some sort where the screen is like melty and everyone's like yelling and shit. And then one of the people is like, oh, there's a solar flare that struck the shuttle. And they're like, ah, and they're all screaming and the screens are all fucked up. And like, you can sort of, it's like kind of hard to make out, but you can kind of see through the screens fucking up that a spider is like attacking the people. And I was like, they're being attacked by a spider that I think they're referring to as the name Mother-in-Law. That's the spider's name.
Oh,
I
yeah.
actually kind of love it. It's
perfect.
weird. Yeah, it's weird. I like it.
It also leads to my favorite line deliveries in the whole movie when they're sitting outside the door that's like just says like, you know, Project MIA or whatever, and they're like, and she's like, Mother-in-law. Like,
I love when the guy says men in leather, and I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way this should have gone, to be honest with you.
Leather daddy spiders.
Yes. Yeah, okay. So the pilot's face is all bubbly, and he's like, help, help. And they're like, okay, we're gonna automatic bring you in now, don't worry. And he's like, to Edwards, right? And he's like, yeah, to Edwards. And then he kind of like turns and he goes, send him to the cleaners. I was like, damn. Woo! So meanwhile, Marcy and her two co-workers, whatever, Slick and Jake, drive into the desert to visit the facility that was in the photo. And they talk about Slick basically is like giving Marcy a hard time because like she, I don't know, is like into conspiracy theories and stuff, and he's basically just like, none of your like ideas ever pan out, and you're always making us do this stupid shit or whatever. And then they're going to break into the facility. Slick pretends to be electrocuted, of course. And they're like, oh my God, but he's fine. Then Marcy's boss calls and is mad that she's not at the station because the government is saying that the space shuttle Solaris burned up upon re-entry. And she needs to be there to write the story, or he's going to give the story away. But then as she's on the phone with them, the shuttle, they hear like a huge rumbling, and the shuttle itself comes crashing down like right in front of them, essentially.
Gasp.
I gotta
Crazy.
say, I feel like they would get way more fucked up from a space shuttle crashing right in front of them.
Right. It stops like immediately. Like it hits that rock and just like, that's it.
Yeah.
It had like zero momentum coming in from space.
Also feel, like shouldn't it be on fire or something?
It's going like 2 miles an hour.
It's just coasting.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh shit. And so Marcy's like, okay, we got to go check this out because
I just looked up the trivia on here, and apparently they were just speaking Danish as an alien language.
Perfect.
That's incredible.
You know what? That makes a lot of sense as to why, like, when the lady is like talking, it says like speaks an alien, but it like sounded like an actual language, and then when he starts yelling, it did not sound like a language. So I think he was just like making shit up.
I don't know. It says very specifically he is speaking Danish, so
weird. Okay. Marcy says now they absolutely have to break in and check it out because the government is now they're doing conspiracy theory because the government's saying that the shuttle was destroyed essentially, and they are literally looking at it. So it wasn't destroyed, right? So they hop the fence and go to check the shuttle out. They go in, everything's all wrecked up. They find a gross dead guy. The weird body horror stuff in this is like not too bad. Some of it's pretty cool. And then they see the spider mother-in-law. At this point, she's still just a regular little tarantula. Then a guy pops out and like jump scares them, and it's the pilot, and he is all fucked up looking. He kind of looks like he's from Planet of the Apes, and he's an ape, but like he's flesh colored. If I were to describe it,
It reminded me of something very specific, but I could not place like what it was. Like a very specific, like kind of like, I think maybe Class of Nukem High is what I'm thinking of. Like Trauma does a lot of those sort of like bubbly
Melty face.
skin, yeah, kind
Lumpy
of stuff. And
guys.
it kind of reminded me of that, but like maybe with more of a budget than Trauma usually had.
Yeah, it kind of, I couldn't put my finger on it, but it kind of reminded me of a Twilight Zone kind of thing too. Anyway, he's chilling, right? Well, not really. He's like dying. They're like, "Oh my gosh, he's like trying to warn them or whatever, but then like a government helicopter and trucks start rolling up, so they have to hide. And while they're hiding, they do see mother-in-law climb on the pilot and bite him a few times. Then I wasn't really sure, but we do get confirmation later. She lays an egg in him. Like, she lays an egg on him and then it goes into his body. Yeah, I don't like it. So they're hiding, right? The government guys, so the main guy, like, evil, like, government guy's name is Mr. Gray, I think.
It's a good agent name, Agent Gray.
Yeah, not suspicious at all. And then the other guy's name is Murphy. I didn't know either of their names throughout this, so I'm gonna try and just like superimpose that into my notes, but we'll see how it goes. They come and they're like walking around, and they walk into the ship, and Murphy just casually steps on and kills the original mother-in-law. Like, nonchalant, just like steps down and is like and like kills it.
End of movie.
The end. Yeah. They pull the pilot out, and the Mr. Gray is like, you know, like, what happened? What's going on? Where is it? Like, blah, blah, blah. And the pilot's just like, please help me. There's like a doctor there that's like, we have to because he's like, take him to the lab. And he's like, no, he has to go to the hospital. And then Mr. Gray just shoots him and kills him. He does not give no shits. So that guy's just dead. And Murphy's like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on here? And Mr. Gray's just like, listen, you better listen to me. So they have him taken to the lab instead of the hospital. Then they blow up the shuttle. Marcy, Slick, and Jake were hiding in back of one of the military trucks. And so they get driven away into the base. And there's like the dead bodies are in the back of the truck with them, and the soldiers are pulling out the bodies, but luckily it is very dark in there, so they do not get spotted, even though they're just like literally laying back in the back of that truck.
Yeah, that like drove me crazy.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
But also, like,
Worked in Metal Gear Solid.
I say the military's pretty bad, so
Yeah.
I could fully see them not noticing them.
They literally stepped on the big expensive radioactive spider
Yeah,
without
fair.
realizing it.
Fair. So the three of them kind of like sneak around the facility a little bit. They end up finding a lab that has like a head in a jar and a weird alien baby thing. That's never explored later. I want to know about the alien baby.
Yeah, I want to know about everything in this movie that wasn't the spiders.
Yeah.
I need to know why JFK's coffin's there. Go into that. And like right next to Jim Morrison's for some reason.
Make Spiders a whole TV series. And we'll cover
For real.
it.
Bring the X-Files back, but have them like have Mulder exploring whatever the fuck was happening in this movie.
Different spiders every week.
Yes. So they find the pilot and they go in to try and help him. Because, you know, they got to save him or whatever. And he's like, and she's like, what happened? What happened? And he basically says, you must stop mother-in-law. Then he...
Incredible sentence.
Yes. He throws up all over Marcy, which is like fucking gross. This is the scene where like as I said, I didn't know what to expect of this movie yet. So far, all we've seen is a real life tarantula, right? And so the guy throws up and is like, and then all of a sudden, huge fucking spider legs, like practical spider legs, come out of his mouth, and like a whole fucking spider comes out of his mouth. And I felt such dread. I was like, ooh, I fucking hated it. It was terrible.
It rocks.
Amazing.
Yeah, they did such a good job. I don't like often have like actual reactions to most of the movies that we do, and I was just like, I was not prepared. I just like wasn't prepared. Like I said, I was expecting it to be CG, in which I don't think it would have affected me at all. I would have been like, oh, that's gross, but like I wasn't expecting big old nasty. Oh, it was so disgusting. Yeah, big old spider pops out of his mouth, and now it's mother-in-law too. Two scientists have come in and are like, what are you doing in here? And mother-in-law shoots webs at the lady, and she screams and runs out, and then she bites the other guy. He manages to hit an alarm, like sound an alarm, because there's danger. Marcy, Slick, and Jake run out while the spider goes after the lady. The spider ends up getting the lady, right? Then they run and they hide in this room. Suddenly, the spider slams up against the glass, and they're like, and they like barricade it and run or whatever. There's a lot of parts in the middle where they're just like running around the facility. So, government guys go to check on the alarm that the scientist like set off or whatever, and they're like, oh, it's probably just a false alarm. Let's go check it out. But then they realize quickly that mother-in-law is in the building. Scary, right?
Dun dun.
Marcy and the boys find like a morgue type thing, but it's like, I don't know, people are like cryogenically frozen or something, and they decide, of course, that the first thing they're going to do is open one of like the tubes, and inside is a man who is wearing a uniform that says he is from Mission Apollo 18. And Marcy's like, oh, there was no 18. It stopped at 17. More conspiracies are happening here.
I don't know. I saw the movie Apollo 18. It was bad.
Right. Me too. Then they go in a room, and then there's like a bunch of bodies hanging upside down in spider webs. Casual. They get to a staircase and they start going up it, but there's webs everywhere. Then mother-in-law pops out and attacks Jake. He falls over the railing, but Marcy and Slick are able to grab him. Mother-in-law bites his leg, and then Slick just like punches her, and she falls down into the darkness. And they're like, oh, she's dead now, right? And they're like, yeah, totally. She's not, though. She just molds her armor into a bigger spider.
I like the premise that every time the spider just like regenerates itself into a bigger spider somehow.
Yeah. The jumps and how big she gets are like pretty big too.
Yeah, like substantial.
Yeah. This is where they find a door that says Project MIL, and they're trying to guess what it says. And like I said, one of them says "Men in Leather," which I thought was so funny. And
so
Marcy,
was.
I think so. Marcy says "Mother-in-law." Like, what the fuck else have we been doing here? They go in and look around. It's a lab, and it's the lab where they were like doing the testing on the spider, right? Mother-in-law. Jake, the hacker, hacks the computer, and he's like, for a clandestine government, their security is really lame. And I was like, yeah, I'm sure it is for a hacker of your sorts. He hacks in and finds a photograph of Joe, the alien from the beginning, and there we are, verified that he's actually an alien. Jake reads, essentially like reads about the spiders, right? So they The spiders lay eggs inside the humans, and they reproduce asexually. What they did was they took some alien DNA and injected the spiders, but they had to do it in space because it's close to where the aliens are from. You know, logically, duh.
That made like no sense to me.
No idea. And then Marcy says, "We got to get this on disc." And I was like, "All right, girl." Jake, this is when Jake reads that the potency of the venom is like 100% deadly, which means that if you get bitten, no matter what, you're gonna die. And this is when we see a shot of his leg wound pulsating.
It's absolutely throbbing.
You know, I love some pulsating here. And he starts to freak out because he's like, "I'm gonna die!" And he's like freaking out, and they're like trying to calm him down. And they're like, "We don't know that there's any venom in there. Like, just calm down and be fine." And he's just like, "No,
Dude's leg is like pulsating. Like,
yeah, he's not
gotta
great.
say,
Yeah.
if you got bit by
Not doing
something
well.
and your body is pulsating, probably
Yeah.
Bad
up.
sign.
It's
Yeah.
over.
So he freaks out and he's like, "If I'm gonna go down, she's coming with me." And then he like picks up some kind of weapon, I don't know, and goes running around the facility yelling for her. But he then starts like mutating, like bubbling up and shit. And when Marcy and Slick catch up to him, they just find like a puddle of blood with his glasses in it. Then Slick and Marcy have like such a weird like conversation where he's like, "You're my best friend, but I don't think I can talk to you right now." I was like, "What?" So they wander around for a while. Eventually they end up finding the elevator, and they get in the elevator and they're like, "Oh my God, thank God." Like they're relieved, right? Because they need to be able, the elevator is the only thing that can take them like all the way to the surface, because they're like, you know, down in a facility.
Fastest moving elevator I have ever seen until they get into it, and
so
it like
fast.
is barely moving.
It's like, ding!
It's like you watch the things. It's like going by floor. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's like it's just flying by after you get past like the first like 4 levels.
Ding! Yeah. So they get in the elevator and they're like, "Oh, thank God." After a few floors, though, it just like stops because they need an ID to clear the security, whatever. Which to me seems like something that should have happened before they got on the elevator. Like once you're leaving, I feel like, but whatever. So they decide that they're gonna do a thing that I fucking hate in movies. You will never catch me doing this, which is that they climb out the top of the elevator because they're just gonna like climb the shaft stairs that are like inside the elevator. No. Of course.
It's a good plan that works well every time.
You know what? It actually works out for them because, like, the fear here is that you're going to be, that the elevator's going to start moving and it's going to, like, crush you, right? And so the elevator does start moving, but the way that they've, like, designed this ladder is that it's, like, in an alcove. So they just, like, flatten their bodies in there and the elevator just, like, passes them, like, no problem. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
All right, I guess. I still, though, now they're just hanging on a ladder in an elevator shaft, which I also don't care to do. But so, yeah, so they climb up the stairs, right? They are able to get these like 2 huge like elevator doors open. But mother-in-law is there, and she is fucking huge now. She's mutated and like quadrupled her size. She's huge. She's like bigger than she's like the size of a lion.
She's
now.
like from, I would say, probably like leg span wise, probably like basically the size of the elevator shaft.
Yeah, she's huge. Yeah. Where the first time she mutated, she was like, I don't know, like a lab.
Hot take: all spiders should be that big, so you know they're there.
That is a hot take.
Like,
I disagree strongly.
Yeah, I don't know about how I feel about that.
I am on the spider side of taking over the earth.
They would
do a better job than us.
Oh, I just don't want to be around for that.
President mother-in-law.
I do like the sound of
Although
that.
It would make the bang bus real weird after she got out of office.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I feel like she would probably eat everybody.
I don't know. I feel like Joe Biden could probably eat her. Joe Biden, he would eat spiders.
Yeah, definitely. Mother-in-law is there. She's huge. They scream, of course, and mother-in-law is like, blah, 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 and they're like, ah, and they fall back. And then they fall down the elevator shaft, which doesn't look very good.
Also, like, I don't know. They're like, I feel like falling 30 floors like that probably would fuck you up. At least, like, break your legs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they fall down like the elevator shaft, and they land on her web, but it's not like it's like they made it out of something so that when they fall and like land. It's not like it's like boom, like
There's no bouncing.
Yeah, no, they just immediately fall on it, and then they're just like, we're fine, I guess. Like, I don't know that you would be. Then the itsy bitsy spider plays as mother-in-law scurries down the elevator shaft after them. Slick is stuck in the web, and there's this like 10-minute long scene where he's like, "Well, go, Marcy, go, run, get out of here." And she's like, "No, I'm not leaving you," and she's like pulling on him or whatever. Until mother-in-law gets down there and starts stabbing Slick with her legs, like stabbing him. And then Marcy decides that she's gonna go. So she climbs the ladder all fast. Slick is yelling and shit. She gets up to the doors and gets in there, and the doors basically shut right as mother-in-law is supposed to get up there. And the thing I didn't like about this is that if a person could just like open the doors with their hands, I don't think the doors would shut on her strong legs. Because she's very athletic. I feel like mother-in-law could just open the door. Then this is when Marcy's like sitting there having just like survived, and she is reminiscing on how she got her friends killed, essentially. She's like hearing all of these conversations she had with them where they were basically like calling her on her bullshit, and she just ignored them, and now they're both dead. So she's great.
Doesn't do a whole lot in the way of self-reflecting past that, though.
No.
So like, all right, well, that happened, I guess.
She just like recalls them being like, "You suck," and then she's like, and she just like gets up and runs away. I was like, okay. The government guys are now down there sneaking around with their guns, trying to shoot mother-in-law. Some of them got, here and there. I could not tell what that said. It says agent. Murphy finds Marcy, and she immediately starts fighting with him. She's like, "Fuck you, motherfucker. I fucking hate you. Get the fuck away from me." And like slaps him and punches him a bunch and steals his gun. And he's like, "Will you calm down? Like, I'm not one of the bad guys. I'm like here to help figure out what's going on." And she shoots at him a bunch. She misses, unfortunately, and she runs off. It was just like a very weird exchange they had here. She runs, and then he chases her and eventually ends up like jumping on her, and then they roll on the ground and fall into some unexplained gross water that's just like in this facility.
Every lab has a room that's just gross water.
Yeah, the gross water room.
I guess it was like so fucking weird and gross. Then they wrestle around in the water, and she's like, let go, and she literally punches him in the face a bunch, and then she's like, "I'm gonna drown," and he's like, "Calm down," and then he ends up like saving her or whatever, and they get to like the shore, and as soon as they do that, mother-in-law grabs Murphy and pulls him back, and Marcy's like, "Oh no," and she gets up and stabs mother-in-law with something, I don't know, and saves him, and then they run away. We're like literally almost done.
Good.
Mother-in-law, yeah. Gets stopped. Then Marcy and Murphy are like, trying to find a way out. They run into Mr. Gray, who knows who Marcy is because she has been writing about all of their crazy conspiracies, and all of them, she's been like
pretty much
so
right.
accurate on everything that she's reporting on, that they've been like keeping tabs on her or whatever. And he's basically just like, I'm not going to let you out of here. Like, I'm going to fucking shoot you, right? So he's about to shoot her when a bunch of spider webs just wrap around him and pull him against the wall. And then mother-in-law comes and fucks him up. Marcy and Murphy then run, and they stumble upon a cocoon chamber, is what he calls it, which is the room where all of the bodies are just like hanging upside down in spider webs. And it's where mother-in-law brings all of her victims. Marcy sees Slick and Jake and is like, oh man.
They could have done so much more with this room. Like,
yeah.
It should have been like, in like, I don't know, at least another spider breaking out or something. Like,
I definitely expected one of them to like still be kind of alive or something.
Yeah.
But they're just dead. Then Murphy steals a key card off of one of his like fellow agent guys who's dead, and they call the elevator. Mother-in-law is like, blah, 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 and starts like crawling up on them as she does, and starts ramming the door, and the elevator starts working, and they're like, oh man, thank God. But then she catches up to the elevator and starts like ramming underneath the elevator until she ends up busting through. Whoever has the gun drops it, and they're like scrambling to try and get the gun, but they can't reach it. And mother-in-law is like, rah, rah, rah. And then Murphy very non-committally delivers the line, going down, and he hits a button. So that this was like his big like one-liner, and his heart wasn't in it, I will admit. He hits the down button on the elevator, and the elevator goes and slams down and squishes mother-in-law. It's kind of funny though, because like when they show this scene, it like they zoomed it in to try and make it seem like mother-in-law was still big, but it was like very obviously like a small version of the spider getting squished by the elevator and not like her big version, and it looked a little bit funny, but it's fine. Then Marcy and Murphy leave the facility happily into the sunlight, and it shows them like driving off. And at this point I was like, how is there still 10 minutes left of this movie?
Yeah, there's like a solid, like at least, I thought it was like 20 minutes after this, but
it might have been.
I was like, I was like, I hope this is just 20 minutes of her writing an article.
Right.
Her writing her thesis. So they leave the facility, they drive into the sunset, but they immediately go back to her newspaper office on the campus to go in and talk to her boss about everything that happened. So they go into the office and they find that her boss is just like fucking dead, and they're like, nobody noticed that he got murdered. They're all just like going about their business, but whatever. And it turns out that Mr. Gray is there, and they're like, what the fuck? How did you even get here that fast? And he's basically just like, don't worry about it. I can't let you guys reveal Project Mother-in-Law to the world because it's going to change everything. Because the cells that they're using from aliens to inject into people has rejuvenation properties, and it makes you super heal. And so Mr. Gray like kind of shows that like the punctures he got from mother-in-law are healed because he's also been injected, I guess, with this alien DNA. Then he talks about he's like, imagine dropping a crate of those spiders over enemy lines. Like, we have the best defense in the world. And I was like, okay, but then What do you do about the spiders? They're just gonna keep going. You have to take over everything.
You have to do that thing where it's like he'll be like, there's a rat problem, so we introduced cats, but now there's a cat problem, so we introduced dogs, but now there's a dog problem, so we introduced this. Like
yeah.
you're just going to introduce like a giant human to step on all the spiders. But then what do you do about the giant human? Introduce bigger spiders to take him out.
Yeah.
Just let the spiders create their own government over there.
Honestly, that's what I'm saying. Like, I
like,
think they would do a better job.
I just imagine like also a crate of the spiders, and every time that they get stomped on, they molt into like a bigger spider, and then now you're just gonna have fucking like.
Eventually, the spider's gonna be so big that it's going to like crush the earth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Or catch the gravitational pull and get sucked into space. Well, that would be okay because then they would stop. But like that alternative to me seems very scary. Okay. Then Marcy is like, I don't know like why you're tripping. Like we killed mother-in-law, like it's over. And then he's like, yeah, but it's not though. And then he throws up all over the floor and she's like, ew. This part didn't look as cool, but basically he's like standing there like, bleh, you know, like whatever. And all of these spider legs bust out his back. And for a minute, he's kind of like a spider person hybrid, which is what I thought they were going with. But then eventually he explodes to reveal mother-in-law, just the spider. And like mother-in-law at this point is like not super that much bigger than she was previously, but then when they're like, fucking run, they run out of the office and everyone else is like, what's happening? Mother-in-law busts out of the building and she's like the size of a building now. And I was like, what?
Amazing.
It rocks. Her fucking like rampaging where she's just kind of like pushing people over and just like flipping them with her like foot is so funny to me.
Yeah, she's just like punching them and eating them.
I wish this was the whole movie. I would have watched an hour and a half of just her just destroying a city.
Fucking shit up.
I mean, fair. She's fucking huge at this point, right? She is running around campus, punching people. People are screaming. It's chaotic. They're jumping over benches. There were so many people jumping over benches. I was like, all right, calm down. Stop showing off, okay? And mother-in-law, at one point, a cop shows up to stop her, and she pries the top off of his car and eats him. Mother-in-law said ACAB, honestly.
Hell yeah.
It's just chaos, right? Cars are flipping over, cars are exploding, they're doing donuts, there's screaming is crazy. And so Marcy, I almost said Mercy. Marcy and Murphy, together they could be Mercy.
Yeah.
Murphy, yeah. Murphy is like, do you see a government chopper anywhere? And then Marcy's like, yeah. They literally pan over and it's like literally sitting right there in the parking lot. And I was like, okay, bro. So they get to the chopper and he's like, all right, it's cool. I've got these weapons. So Murphy gets a uranium rocket launcher, casual, and rocket launches at mother-in-law, but he misses.
Very good.
Because he sucks. She is like, see ya, and she like foots it into town. She's gonna go party. And then he's like, okay, let's get in the chopper. I know how to fly it, of course, and we'll just like follow her and figure this out. Then it's nighttime all of a sudden, and mother-in-law is just terrorizing the city, and like the local cops are shooting at her, and she just like doesn't give a shit because she's a queen. And they finally show up in the helicopter, but they can't land. Their plan was that they were going to land the helicopter and then he was going to like rocket launch her again, but she starts climbing up the side of this convention center and they can't land. So Marcy says she's going to take the shot from the air. So she gets into the back seat. She's like, get me closer. She gets into the back seat and she is worried that there's no seatbelts. And at first I was like, it was kind of dumb, but it makes sense because then he's like, get that rope and tie it around you. So she ties a rope around her waist, right? And Marcy gets the rocket launcher. He talks her through how to use it, and she shoots, and she hits mother-in-law, but it doesn't do anything. And he's like, "You didn't do it right," and she's like, "Okay."
I just like that, like the missiles they use or whatever essentially just look like those Nerf ones.
They 100% are. And he's like, you didn't do it right. And she's like, pretty sure there's only one way to hit somebody with a rocket launcher. Like, her armor, though, at this point, she's so big that her armor is so thick that the rocket launcher can't penetrate her. So she's gonna shoot it down her throat. So she's like, get me closer. So they like helicopter closer or whatever. And then I missed what happened, but something happened where the helicopter gets jostled and Marcy falls out of the helicopter and it's just hanging on around the rope. And I was like, I feel like that would also fuck you up if you fell out.
Oh, 100%.
And the rope is like around her waist. So like, I don't know. I don't know a lot about geometries of falling out of a helicopter with a rope tied around you, but
Science
she's just
quarter for
dangling.
next week.
Yeah, figure it out, Kit.
I'll work on it.
Okay. So, she's got the rocket launcher. She's just swinging around in the air or whatever, right? And then she goes, "Suck on this, you bitch." And then mother-in-law goes, "Rah!" And she like opens her like little tentacle mouth, and Marcy shoots the rocket launcher and it goes into her mouth. We don't see it, but we know what happens because mother-in-law explodes, and it's a bunch of colors and blood sprays everywhere, which is like pretty good, by the way. And Marcy and Murphy are both like, "Woohoo! Yip 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 yip." Then he calls her babe, so I assume that they're in love now. And then she's like, "I've got an article to write." The end.
I love when a movie just it doesn't fuck around. It's just like, oh, we killed the monster, and that's the end.
Yes.
Nothing
like
else.
Abruptly.
Yeah.
It's how like that's the thing I love about like giallos is how they're like, here's the killer, credits.
Bye.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Pretty
good.
Yeah. I mean, I would recommend it.
Yeah, me too, actually.
And spiders too.
Yes. I have not watched that one though.
I haven't either.
I assume not as good.
No. It's not. But it's good.
Katie, did you see any news?
No. Nope.
All right, good. Today, in real news, has been wild, but I'm not getting into any of that. Other than somebody throw a brick at Tucker Carlson if you see him at a restaurant.
Definitely. Idiot.
All right.
And say, "Suck on this, bitch," before you do it.
Yes, you have to. Kit, what'd you watch this week?
Evil Dead. I think that was it.
The original or the new one?
The new one and the original.
What did you think of the new one?
I liked it. I thought it was really good. I didn't like it quite as much as the Fede Alvarez one, but it was good. It takes a little too long to kind of get going, but once it does, it's a lot of fun.
I've seen like all the stuff I've seen from it. I'm a little nervous, but like I'll watch it when it's available. Like I'll watch it at home, but yeah, I don't know. I keep seeing that like people being like, I love that it has no plot, and I'm like, no, please don't do that.
I mean, it does. It's as much plot as any other Evil Dead.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I keep seeing people being like, this reminds me of like the Hostel movies where it's just all this gore, and I'm like, please don't make me think about Eli Roth when I watch this.
That's a person that's only ever seen Hostel. Yeah. It's like watching something, getting a lot of Hostel vibes from this.
When it first started like getting sort of like reviews actually pouring in.
Oh yeah, coming in.
All of the people that like I follow who only watch that sort of like 2000s torture shit were like, I love this. I was like, oh no.
No, this I think this is a pretty good blend of like the 2013 like more serious kind of aesthetic and stuff with some of the more slapsticky stuff from 1 through Army of Darkness.
Gotcha.
So it's like it does have a lot of serious gore in it, but a lot of it's in very slapsticky ways, like with the fucking cheese grater and shit like that.
Yeah. I'll watch it.
I thought it was good.
It became one of those ones where I'm like, if I go see some in the theater, like soon, I'm gonna go see Renfield instead.
Oh yeah. I mean, I also had like fairly low expectations for it until seeing that it was getting like good reviews across the board, and I was like, oh, maybe it will actually be good. And then yeah, no, it was really good. The mom in it that becomes a Deadite and is like the main protagonist or whatever. She's so good.
Oh yeah. I will report whenever I can watch it for free. Katie, what'd you watch?
Not a lot. We're still watching Breaking Bad, so we're like almost at the end of that. Then I watched this movie from 2000 called Gossip.
Spiders.
Also, yeah, that had young Norman Reedus and Kate Hudson and James Marsden in it. And Pisces, not great. Kind of really stupid. Then I watched, I don't know if this was a Netflix original movie, but it was on Netflix and it was called Hypnotic. And I only watched it because Kate Siegel is in it. And she was amazing as always, but the movie was also very stupid, dumb. Interesting premise where like she has some kind of trauma and she goes to a therapist to get like hypnotherapy, and then like weird stuff happens. And I felt like the premise was really cool, but then they like reveal what's happening like almost right away, and then the rest of the movie is just like, I don't know, it's dumb. You can skip it. Then I watched something that I know was a Netflix original, and it was based off of a true story, and it was called Lost Girls. And it had the lady who plays Holly from The Office was like the main character, and Gabriel Byrne was in it also as like a detective guy. Bad. Really bad.
Yeah, you said Netflix original. What did you expect?
Yeah. I know. I keep giving them tries, and I thought that maybe because this was based off of a true story, like maybe it would be okay, but it just was like kind of pointless. This was the movie I was like texting Nathan because it takes place like around Long Island, and like nobody in the immediate family, even though they lived there, nobody had an accent except for one girl, and her accent was really thick and it was so off-putting. A few of the other people like later on have like fake accents. It was just like very strange. So 10 out of 10, don't recommend. And then the only other thing that I watched was a movie that we'll talk about separately, I think.
Oh yeah. I watched basically last week and this week I burned through all the Blue Demon movies. And they're fine. They're not as good as the Santo movies, but totally watchable. Like I didn't rate anything under 2 stars. But, totally fun. There should be more. We should bring back the Luchador Fighting Monsters movie.
Universe.
Amen.
Yeah. I watched Women's Prison Massacre by Bruno Mattei, which that title and that director should tell you everything you need to know about that movie. It's extremely sleazy. I finally got around to Suburban Sasquatch. Perfect movie. Absolute banger. I'm baffled that someone made an hour and 40-something minute SOV movie about Sasquatch and made the entire thing completely entertaining. It rocks. You can see a CGI net thrown on a Bigfoot for some reason.
All right.
So good.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's great. High recommend. If you get that Visual Vengeance release of it, do it.
Oh man, what a fucking banger of a
Yeah.
film.
Did you get Slaughter Day from them?
I did.
Have you?
Also
It's
rocks.
so good. Talk about a movie with no plot whatsoever.
That's
It's the movie's only like it's like 50 something minutes. I think it's under an hour, and
yeah.
it's just a 58-minute chase fight scene. Basically, it rocks.
My my new favorite thing is 90 shot on video Evil Dead ripoffs.
Wow, man.
Speaking of Evil Dead,
Yes. Honestly,
it's
I
like
feel like they're like
what a great genre.
there's so many like the Bollywood Evil Dead is incredible. Like it's such a good premise of just like throw some fucking people into a thing where someone's
Yeah,
possessed and then just there's a lot of blood.
yeah, just chopping off limbs and shit.
um let's see. I think the other thing I've been like on a real like concert home video kick lately. Like I had I watched like all of the Cure ones that were on Letterboxd and shit like a while back, and I've been on like a John Zorn kick the last 2 weeks. So I was watching a bunch of shit from his like some of his live stuff and like a documentary made about him, and that's pretty much it. I rewatched Dirty Work last night after I watched Spiders, and that movie's still very good. R.I.P. Norm Macdonald. Shout outs, Katie.
Yes. I'm gonna shout out one of my other favorite bands who broke up, which is almost every single one of my favorite bands. Balancing Composure released a single earlier this month that I just found out about, and it's called Too Quick to Forgive.
Oh
That's
yeah,
two songs.
how I've meant to like listen to that and I just forgot.
Nothing super groundbreaking, but sounds like Balancing Composure, which it sounds a lot like Light We Made, which I is like my second favorite album by them. So I didn't even know that they were releasing anything. So it was like the best surprise. And so I enjoyed it a lot.
How gravelly is the dude's voice in it?
Not very.
No, I really like their early stuff when he has that sort of like gravelly kind of yell thing going on.
No, he
I didn't
doesn't
know if
really.
he did that anymore or not.
No, not really.
I mean, I'll still check it out. I like their like later period stuff too, but I miss like that sort of like yelly kind of thing he did.
Yeah, he doesn't super
I mean,
do that
I didn't
much.
assume, but I was just curious.
Yeah.
Kit, what about you?
Shout out Elon Musk being a big dipshit and entertaining me so thoroughly
Dude,
for the
this
past
last
4 days.
couple days on Twitter has been incredible.
Oh my god, it's so good. The fucking dingbat that he thinks that them writing your name on the cup at Starbucks
Oh,
is
the reason
just
you
part of
pay
the
$8.
experience.
No, like yeah, that's
Yeah.
why you pay for it.
What?
Jesus Christ.
Some like the whole thing about like they're like number like so they got rid of the verification checks and you have to pay for it now,
Right.
which means every dipshit with $8 with the worst opinions and like 8 followers are now verified on Twitter.
And they're super mad that celebrities don't want it.
Yeah, and so if you go to any celebrity that like so that lasted for a day, and then Elon basically caved in and gave everybody with over 1 million followers a blue check mark again, and they don't want it because it says that they're paying for Twitter Blue and that they use their phone number for it, which is a lie, and I'm almost positive is going to get Twitter sued. But
Yeah.
all like so many of them are like, hey, just so you know, I didn't pay for this, I would never pay for this, I did not give them permission for this, whatever. And so all of the replies are from these fucking the least fucking funny or clever people on earth being like, well, pay your $8, you're rich, I guess those residuals aren't coming in anymore. Like, it's fucking embarrassing, but it's also made it incredibly easy to block all of them because they're now
Yeah.
the top of every fucking reply to everything.
Yeah, so one guy was like, People pay $8 for coffee every morning to have their name on it, $10 a month for a streaming service to watch, $50 for weed, but won't pay for verification of their own identity on Twitter without acting like it's costing them their life.
Right.
And someone was like, it's actually amazing that people are revealing themselves to be even stupider than I thought they were. Because I thought it was super obvious why Starbucks writes your name on the cup to any functioning adult.
Like, the thing...
And someone else was like, Starbucks writes your name on the cup. For what reason, in your view? I can get a cup of coffee anywhere.
The thing that drives
oh
me
my
crazy
fucking god, guy.
is like, how many of these people are either pretending or just extremely stupid that they don't understand why, like, celebrities and news stations, whatever, are, like, upset about losing the verification. Because it's like literally the day that happened, there were, like, 30 accounts pretending to be the New York Times tweeting shit.
Right.
And it's like, they don't understand that the reason that, like, Jason Alexander, for example, was like, hey, like, this sucks, is because people are going to scam people that follow him, like his fans and shit. And, like, they're all like, oh, you're just mad that now we have the free speech you've always enjoyed. And it's like, you are the fucking dumbest people on earth.
It's so amazing.
Just the absolute dumbest. Like, I like all the tweets that are like, the illogical endpoint of Twitter would 100% end up being Drill versus Elon. So,
I imagine being as unpopular and unfunny as Elon is, and then picking a fight with, like,
a guy that was doxxed that everybody on Twitter actively pretended didn't happen.
Yeah, just pretended that, you know, we didn't see it because everyone likes him so much. Just like, yeah, no, that didn't happen.
Yeah, it's
and Elon's dad is going out of his way to be like, I don't know why he keeps lying about the Emerald Mine thing. Like, I can prove it. It's real.
Yeah, I did see something about that. That's hilarious.
God damn it.
It's pretty great.
So yeah, shout out Elon Musk. This is the first time in your life you've ever been funny.
Just not on purpose.
Not intentionally.
Okay, that's my shout out too.
It's been so good.
It's so funny. All right, next week we're doing a sort of good movie. We're gonna do The Crow, and then we're gonna follow it with like 5 weeks of shitty Crow movies.
Oh, I'm so excited.
We should all just caw.
Yeah,
the whole time.
The whole time.
Every time someone says crow.
It's gonna be interesting. I've only seen the first two, so I can't imagine what the Edward Furlong movie is like.
Yeah, 4 is insane because it's got Edward Furlong and Dennis Hopper.
Isn't Tara Reid in like one of them? I
think so, yeah.
I'm not looking forward to watching the TV show either. It's gonna be bad. Yeah, so The Good Crow next week. If you would like to support us, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/IBSufferPodcast. Some point in the near future, we'll have an episode on some movies using garden tools as weapons.
Yeah.
Boo.
Look, just find one that's got like a demon in it. Then you'll have the best of both worlds.
I don't know if I can do that.
I bet you can. We could just do demons
Demon
again.
gardening
I'm pretty
tools.
sure there's you can say
100% there's like a movie called Garden Demons from Italy in the 70s.
Alright, let's find it.
You can buy merch at our Store Frontier shop. You can follow us on Instagram at IPSufferPodcast. Follow Kid at Hidden Kidstery, Kitrification of Blood. Follow Katie at WerewolfFace, and you can join her Patreon at patreon.com/werewolfface. You can listen to my other podcast named Kid Movie Club. I'm just going to assume everybody's seen The Crow, so you probably do not need to watch that for next week.
You can if you want, though.
Yeah, just listen to the soundtrack. It's a banger. Alright, I hope you are mother-in-law, but why?